I'm Lisa Haisha. Welcome to the Legacy Interviews. Today my guest is Fred Powers. And Fred is someone who I've known forever, like my whole life. One of the first people I met when I came to Los Angeles. He has been an angel in my life. He has been a lifesaver. He's been a best friend. He has been there for me every step of the way. He introduced me to travel. He introduced me to how to live life in the moment, each day, be grateful, to be happy regardless of what's going on in your world. So he's a man of many gifts. He's a businessman, very successful, had one of the best restaurants in Los Angeles. So during this interview, I want to just pick his brain and share some of his knowledge that he's gained throughout his 60-plus years and share that with you on a variety of topics. I have no idea where this is going, but we'll find out. Hi, Fred.
Thank you so much, Lisa. That was amazing. I hope I'm worthy of all the nice things that you said, but it's been a wonderful ride with you. It's
Yes.
been an incredible 25 years. Unimaginable. I can't imagine what my life would have been like without you.
And I
So,
feel the same way.
I feel so blessed to have had you in my life, and the amount of magnificent ups and downs that we've shared over these 25 years. People say that truth is stranger than fiction, and I think that's really the case in our lives. Who would have ever imagined? And our lives have paralleled one another.
Yes.
So interestingly, with relationships, children.
Yes.
Business.
Everything. Yes. Health.
Health.
Yes. We both had some of the same experiences in a
Absolutely.
different way, but really
Absolutely.
similar. And tonight's another example of, I guess, our relationship and who you are for me. You're sick, you live far away, and you're like, okay, you want to interview me? Today's the last day, I'll come. And you showed up, drove in traffic, and you're here. So I'm very grateful because I feel you have so much to share, and I've learned so much from you. And I feel selfish keeping it all to myself. And I'd love the audience to gain something from this interview that they haven't heard in the others, because this is more of a friendship interview and
Absolutely.
what friendship means, and going deeper in your world. You could have everything in the world, but if you don't have a friendship like this, you really don't have much.
We're blessed.
We're blessed. So can you share with me a little bit about where your gift for connecting and your gift for being present for so many people has come from? Because I know we're close, but I know you're very close to other people who say, oh my God, Fred's one of the only people I've kept in touch with this many years, and how you've touched their lives.
You know, that's such a difficult question to answer. And I think that through this illness, I have cancer now, as you know, and the number of people that have responded to me with love is a tribute, I think, to the love that I've given them. So where this comes from, I think a mother who loved deeply, grandparents who shared so much with me, but I think part of it's just innate. It's who I am. I love profoundly. I care profoundly for those people that I think are special in my life. And I give and give and give. And I expect nothing in return, but I feel that there's a magnetism that's created for some people. You know, in our relationship, there have been times that both of us could have gone the other way. We could have said, we're just not going to continue for whatever reason.
Yes.
And I think, as you recall, there was a time in our relationship where it was important for you to travel. And I held you like a bird in my hand and said, fly away. And I really didn't want you to fly away. I wanted you to stay nearby for our friendship to continue. But I knew it was important for you that you were able to travel, to spread your wings, to learn so much. And it worked. It's so important for you. I think that was the beginning of your travels and how you became more of who you were destined to become. And it was important for me. I realized it at the time, and I had to let go. And I think you took that. I don't know whether you were concerned about traveling at the time or what inhibitions you may have had, but you did what was important for you, and I was thrilled to have been a part of that.
Yes.
To unselfishly give the love that
And
time.
inspired it. go do it, and
Absolutely.
empowered me, knowing that I'll probably be okay and land on my feet. And if I don't, I'll come back stronger. Yeah.
And I was there for you the whole time.
Yes, you were. I think you wrote me a letter almost every day. It was like, oh, another one.
Yep.
That was before cell phones and text messages and all that, where it was so handy. But can we go and talk a little bit about cancer? Because you were told that you had X amount of time to live. I think 3 or 4 months.
Yep.
Now it was supposed to be in March, and now we're in August.
Right.
So what did that feel like, and how did those words affect you and shift your life of how you're moving forward? Because you beat the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, on November 1st, a dear friend who is an oncologist at City of Hope told me that there were 34 months, and that was it. My liver was impacted, and I was done. And I remember the next day closing up my office. I think I called you and told you it's over. And I packed up boxes and boxes and I pitched them. And then you said, it's not over. And we went to New York City to celebrate what might have been the last trip. But I think both of us knew that something would happen, something remarkable would happen, and it wouldn't be the end. Fortunately, December 30th, I started a program that's worked very well. But in the interim, the fear, the amount of love that I started sharing for everyone became extraordinarily increased. It was a major shift in my life in terms of loving everybody, thinking that it may be that I was going. We recorded goodbyes to my children. We said happy birthdays. I said happy birthdays to them for each of their birthdays coming up. And that in itself, which you helped me do, was a magnificent exercise in reaching my core, in finding who I was and how much love I had for them. And it was all about love, love, love. There's something about knowing that you're dying that's empowering. I felt that I had had a magnificent journey. I had no regrets. I loved who I was. I wouldn't have changed anything. And the journey, I could say now, I felt like I had done everything that I'd wanted to do. And I was blessed to be who I was, who the people in my life, my children, Candace, everything was perfect.
Great. Tell me something, though, that you felt in that moment of, I'm going to die. Then you told me what your action steps you took, but how did that affect your core? Were you scared, or were you more curious about the afterlife? Is there an afterlife? Do you believe in an afterlife? Did it get you more connected to God or the universe, or were you just, okay, it is what it is, I have this life, move on, and staying more focused with what you could see, feel, and touch?
It's a great question, and I think I've got a very good answer for you. We've talked about this in the years past. From my early 20s, after seeing several autopsies at Children's Hospital in Boston, it was Christmas, and I walked into the morgue for reasons I don't know, but I ended up seeing 3 children that I had drawn blood from, in one case just a few weeks, in other cases months. And as they were on the autopsy table and their insides and brains were somewhere other than in their bodies, I realized for the first time that the miracle of our spirits is something so special and such an incredible gift that I believed at that moment that we were all attached to one another. As I sit here with you, I am part of your life. I'll be part of your life, and you'll be part of my life forever on some level. And I feel that all of us that come in contact with others have a presence in their soul, in their mind, in their spirit. And I use the analogy that the same way that you'd find all the electronic waves that are surrounding us for our telephones, our cell phones, iPads, Wi-Fi, we can't see any of it. And yet we're surrounded by millions and millions of signals. So why is it so difficult to think that we wouldn't be able to transmit effortlessly, wirelessly, our spirit between one another? So the answer to your question is, when I thought I was going to die, I wasn't scared. I wasn't nervous. I had great comfort knowing that my energy, my love, my spirit was going to continue in some form in many, many people, that I would live on with the love that I gave them in extraordinary ways. So I wasn't at all fearful or concerned. It was just life's natural progression.
That's beautiful. So how do you feel today? Do you feel that you're out of the woods? Do you feel you're going to live another 100 years? Or are you on the fence of just let's take it one day at a time?
I do take it one day at a time.
Okay.
And I try to do more, thanks to you, in many respects. I do more and I love more. And I'm trying to grab more and more of the thrills that I can get from life.
Yeah, it seems like you don't stop very much. You're working, then you're out a lot with friends. You're always throwing parties at your house. You're celebrating life constantly. And that's one gift you've given me. Your home is not a home unless it's filled with love and with people.
Absolutely.
And that has stayed with me for 25 years. So that's why I haven't had people here. I've got to have people over. And otherwise it starts to feel like just a box that you live in.
Absolutely.
It's the material things don't matter as much as the company.
That's so true.
Yeah, because it brings the energy in. Then when even everyone leaves, you still feel the energy there of life and, you know, the memories.
You know, in December, when we got back, the community that I live in, Arcadia, had a party for me. I was very sick. And they tried so hard to do something special for me. And I felt an emptiness that was incredible. It felt like an out-of-body experience that I was there, but I wasn't there. And since that time, when I started the therapy, the treatment that's working, I've had lots of people over the house. And it brings such joy and such excitement. Every group is so different. The dynamics, the exchange of personalities is so enchanting. It's so beautiful. And it fills my house with so much love. It's an enriching experience. And I'm so glad that it's something that you've adapted for yourself and it's become part of your life. It's wonderful. I would do it every day if I could.
Yes, and you also said you had the best restaurant in Los Angeles, in my opinion, and I think the opinion of many. It was the first microbrewery, and it was Gorky's Cafe and Russian Brewery is the name of it. And that restaurant gave so many people pleasure because you had live music, you had art, you had delicious food, and it was so unique and such a clever design and the way you hosted it. You went out and shook hands. You made it feel like people were coming to your home. And I didn't want to eat any place else. It's like Gorky's or nothing. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you want to take me out or you want to see me, we're doing it at Gorky's because of the energy. And that's why I said, I got to meet this guy. Who is he? Then you were taking a trip to Russia. I'm like, I got to go to Russia with this guy because this is my home too. I want to decorate because you're looking for things, you know, tchotchkes to sell, new uniforms for your waiters or your servers.
Right, you remember.
Yes, of course. And I'm like, oh, new wine or bottle, beer glasses and stuff. So I'm like, oh, I've got to still come in, you know, because this is my home. And to give a stranger that feeling is really a gift.
What was the best part of Gorky's?
The energy.
The people.
The people just sitting there.
It just wasn't a restaurant.
No.
It was
and people
a
felt
meeting
it.
place, right? Do you know just recently it was called one of the two most important cultural meeting places in the city of Los Angeles during the 80s?
It was.
And you know, and
that's
if
great
it were
to be
any
acknowledged and honored in a
it
bigger
really
way,
is.
but
It really is. And we were on TV, everything from INLA to Two on the Town. We were on Japanese television. The LA Times repeatedly, Sunset Magazine, Vogue, Bazaar, the Wall Street Journal, even the New York Times. I think I might have said that. And that was incredible. But it was all about the people. People met and got married as a result of it. Strangers met. One of the most interesting stories I have from the time at Gorky's was to see Otis Chandler come in his chauffeur-driven limousine and sit on one side of the restaurant, and a fellow by the name of Ted Hayes, who was the self-proclaimed head of the homeless, would sit on the other side. He came in on his bicycle. Otis Chandler came in his limousine. And Gorky's was a place that they could meet and talk. You know, if it wasn't that, I don't think I'd want any part of a restaurant. But that was Gorky's was magic.
It was magic.
I think there are many places like that today.
Yeah.
But at the time, for whatever reason, people, rich and poor, came there. You know, we had live entertainment every night. It was a meeting place for the whole city.
Yes.
And some people would travel an hour and a half just for a slice of apple
Yep.
pie. Can you imagine?
I can.
So,
The Russian oatmeal pancakes.
Exactly. Exactly.
So what is
But
the
that was a
secret
gift.
to success? If someone is struggling right now and they want to start their own business or do something, what are the ingredients they need to make that happen? Because you've done it several times in very different businesses.
First of all, I think it's never quit. If you have a belief, never ever give up. And when you think there are no more pages to be turned, find 5 more. Don't ever think that something is impossible. I remember people telling me when I built it's a 13-story building at the corner of La Cienega and San Vicente, and it's part of Cedars-Sinai Hospital now. And I bought the land and people said, you'd never be able to do it. You'll never pull it off. Well, I found a way to raise $35 million. The building is standing there, and I found a way. So there's always a way. People said I wouldn't build a brewery, it would take a year and a half, and I did it in 16 weeks. You know, everything that I've done, I've had people say, you'll never do that. But the reality is...
But how do you get that kind of passion, though? Because I know you, and sometimes you don't sleep. You'll get up at 4 or 5 just to get in your workout before your long day, and you go to bed at 11 or 12. How do you do that? And
how am
how
I
long
here
can
right
you
now
do it
when
and
I didn't want to
sustain
do
it?
this interview?
Yes,
you know?
yes. You're like,
how
oh, I'm
did
too
that
tired,
happen?
I'm sick.
No,
Yeah, how do you go that extra mile, I guess? How do you get
God,
that energy?
that's the secret of life, isn't it?
Because that's
I mean, why
passion
do
that gets you there.
Why do some people have it and some people don't?
Yeah.
I never ever quit. I always am able to do what other people I think find to be extremely difficult. And for me, I say it's entirely possible, whether it's calling the president of a major corporation, and doing that often and many times, starting new projects. You know, today, basically I put businesses together. We start with nothing, and in the end, I've just made several investments, and I think they'll all become pretty special. So, what is it? What is the magic? Believing in myself, believing that I deserve it, believing that it's possible.
How can people train themselves to be like that? If they start things and they quit because the going gets rough, or they don't have money, they don't have connections, they feel, what's the point? I'm just going to, even if I get this job, I don't want to sit in a cubicle for the next 20 or 30 years for $30,000 a year. What would you say to them?
I would say come up with an idea, a simple idea of something that gives them some passion.
How do they come up with an idea?
Oh my goodness.
What's your trick for that?
Haisha, that's a tough one. That really is. That has to come from within. There's no formula for that.
Yeah, I would say they need to set them up like in nature somewhere. They have to be quiet. Stop listening to people. Get inspired. Go take a walk. I know you love going to the Norton Simon Museum, just sitting in the gardens. I think when you're alone, people are talking so much or just numbing out, watching the news, and they're like so depressed I can't get off the couch. They can't think of a clever, unique idea. So I think going within perhaps would help.
I think that's one way. I think if you have a passion for anything, if it's photography, you look for a
but I can't afford a camera.
You don't need a camera. You look for a gap in service that someone else isn't doing, and you explore that. You see if there's a void. Can you fill the void?
That's wonderful.
What does it cost to fill the void? Can you do something for next to no money? I mean, everybody can borrow $1,000, and it might be $1,000 or 100,000, but people can start by filling a void. And that's what I've done over and over again, and I continue to do it every day. You know, we have the sign business. We had a huge account with Harbor Freight Tools, 520 stores selling signs. It was $1 million worth of business, and they went to China with the designs. That was it. So now I'm trying to fill a void again. What can I do to build the business again by finding that magic that will make the sign business profit at the level that it was before? So it's a constant challenge. Every one of us, every day, have a challenge. I don't care how smart the people are.
It's true.
I don't care if they're
what business?
A successful attorney, a plastic surgeon in Beverly Hills. Everybody has their challenges. And just because they have a title doesn't mean that they're making money or that they're happy. because we know a lot of people that, as an example, dentists that graduate and decide that they hate dentistry. And what do? They have to find another career. They have to reinvent themselves. So I think it really starts with finding, the first step is to find any level of passion that they have for something. The next step is to see if there's a void in the area. Great story is about my uncle, Mel Powers, who was a very successful book publisher for 60 years. Matter of fact, he just died at 91, and he was working until he was 88 or 89, and he loved what he was doing. He started with nothing. He had $50 in his pocket when he came out from Boston to Los Angeles. What did he do? He started as a hypnotist, and he wrote a book and became a Bible for years, for decades, on hypnosis. And after he wrote the first book, there was a second, third, and at the end there were 650 books.
How did he get it published?
He self-published.
Yeah, how did he do that? You want to share that story? Because I love that story.
Why don't you tell it?
No, it's your show.
You're
writing that book about the carrot or the butt? No.
Oh my God, that one. Oh
Yes.
my goodness. We were at a barbecue at his house. That was a whole different story.
Yeah.
Wow, we transitioned
Yeah.
there. He invited a fellow who was the president of Penguin Books to come over for a barbecue. And we were eating and drinking, and the conversation came around, Mel, if you're so good, why don't you just create a book on the spot? So they spent about 15 minutes, and they thought, well, there was a book called How to Flatten Your Stomach. And they decided to do a parody on how to flatten your stomach, and it was going to be called How to Flatten Your Tush. So my girlfriend at the time was nominated to be coach, and they changed her name to Coach Marge Reardon, R-E-A-R, Reardon. And they wrote an entire book about Coach Marge Reardon and how to flatten your tush. It took them about 4 hours to write the book, literally. It was only about 80 pages. Mm-hmm. They got Coach Marge, on the circuit where she was the guest of honor at a beauty contest, and she was a judge. She was on radio. She was on television. They got her probably a half a dozen or more gigs, and she promoted How to Flatten Your Tush. Well, that book sold in excess of 200,000 copies out of a joke, out of a dare.
Yeah, that is incredible. Just goes to show you, if you think outside the box, you have a passion, there is a way. Mm-hmm. And that really gave him more money to do what he wanted to do, keep his publishing company going. And
the point is, you're absolutely right, that it takes just an idea and very little money and passion, and understanding a void, and people can be off to the races. And you just take that first step. I think for most people, it's the first step. Mm-hmm. I think the key in life for most people is taking the first step. If they can take that first step, the rest happens by itself. But most people are paralyzed. They can't take that first step. So I take that first step every day. You do too.
Yeah.
We take many first steps
because
every
we
day.
love what we do.
Absolutely.
And we love life.
Absolutely.
And to us, it's not work. To me, this is relaxing. It's connecting. It's a meditation. I was talking about that with another guest. Yeah, it's just fun.
Absolutely.
It's not work. So if you're working all day, it's like, no, I'm hanging out with friends all day. So even if you're not feeling your best, you could show up. So people need to discover what is their passion. What would they wake up in the morning to do, and to do for free? And then once they find that, maybe find a mentor, go volunteer doing that job or something in that field. And if they really have the passion, they'll work hard, and people will see that passion, and they'll get hired.
Or get rewarded on many levels.
Way, yes.
And I think people have to understand that
and they'll keep learning.
Right. It's not all fun, though. It's not all pleasure. There are parts of your job every day that you can say, oh my goodness,
300 emails a day to sit there and go through.
Right.
And
But the net result is that leads to something else.
Yes.
You know, you end up building a list of followers that number in the hundreds of thousands. How? It starts with one. And you have a belief. I remember when you were teaching courses to people on how to write, and you'd say, the key is every day, just write one sentence or one paragraph. And those that did it, I think, found that there was tremendous joy in writing. You followed that yourself. I know that you're up sometimes at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning writing. I don't think anybody knows how hard you work. And it's still joy. It's
when you
still
have
joy.
a child, as you know,
Yep.
you don't have that concentration or not in the zone when they're awake. So it's like you have to go to sleep. Then you need at least an hour to get down from the high of your child. You know, I have a daughter. So when she's asleep and I have an hour of downtime, then I get in the zone. So that's usually about midnight or 1. So I have to write for 2 hours.
Try doing that with 3 kids.
And that's very hard.
You know?
It gets more, yeah.
And since the illness, I've been working from home.
Yes.
So managing the 3 kids and trying to do what I do, which is all really interesting, fascinating creativity to me. I mean, I take ideas that are just, who knows where they come from in the ether, and I make them happen. So I'll be reading an article. I love to read.
I know.
And the more I read,
Yes.
the more connections.
And that's how you
I
get
learn.
your ideas.
Absolutely.
I get mine by being out in nature. You get yours by reading, and you one sentence you go, that would work for this, and you connect the dots and you come up with your idea.
Absolutely. Today I was reading an article in Fortune magazine about the top 100 billionaires in the country. And I had 2 leads from that. One owns a pharmacy company in Texas. They have 120 stores. So, you know, tomorrow I'll call them and tell them about Curacane, which is the product that I created. It's in Walgreens now and in Cardinal Health and all over the country. And hopefully I'll come up with a sale for them. Now, I've got a project in front of me that something I've never done before. I have to create a presentation for Walmart for the same product. It's one heck of a challenge. I'll buckle down and just do it. And other people would say it's impossible, they can't do it. I'll find a way to do it.
They've never done it before, it's
Right.
not in their
Right.
wheelhouse, yeah. But you find a way.
When we first started Curacane, the VP of the company, the parent company, asked me if I could find somebody that would fill out all the documentation for Walgreens. And I said, we'll do it ourselves. He said, it's impossible. I said, if we if we try to find anybody else that'll do it, it will take them days. We'll do it in 2 hours. And we did. And he said, it's impossible. We can't do it. I said, watch me. And we did it. You know, a lot of it was the knowledge, using the knowledge we had at hand. And I explained to him if we had to change it later, we'd do it. But meanwhile, we'll get the project done, we'll submit it, and if there are any changes that need to be done, it'll happen later. And it worked. So we got the account with Walgreens.
Fabulous.
So, absolutely.
Congratulations.
And now we're selling more products every month. We just got a reorder for 4,000 pieces over a 2-week period. So that's a success story.
That's huge.
Yep.
Yeah,
And by
but
the
that
way,
was persistence.
It didn't take 1 meeting in Chicago. It took 4 meetings. And with each meeting, we got a little bit closer.
Yes.
But it was difficult, very difficult.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I would say never quit. Never, ever quit. And you know, another one came just recently from a dear friend. You met and remember Gus Steichman, who passed away just a few months ago. Actually, it's been a year. And Gus told me over and over again over the years that I deserved my success, that I was entitled to all the richness and all the wonder and all the joy that was coming my way. And he said that to me often. And I loved him for that, for many things. But he was just such a special man and had the joy in his heart, the excitement, the enthusiasm that made the two of us like 2 little peas in a pod. We just loved and shared so much joy in life. But his statement all the time was, you deserve it, you're worthy of it, go get it. And that was, I think, the best gift that he could have ever given me, that anybody that could ever give a person, is to tell them that they're worthy of it, they deserve it, and to go get it.
That is beautiful. And it's true.
It is true.
And
I think we've shared the same
Yes,
thoughts.
I do think you're worthy of it, because I've never met anyone who not only works so hard, but you put your passion into it. You don't just get it done to do check. It's like created with so much love and thought, and you really want perfection, but you won't use perfection as an excuse not to get it out there. So you know how to walk that fine line of doing something the best of your ability without it stopping you from succeeding. Because I know so many people who have these great ideas or get accounts and say, yeah, I could do it. Then they get overwhelmed, or it's not perfect, so they don't actually submit it, or they don't make their deadlines. And you have that unique ability to do it where it's like, wow, that's so creative and everything, and just put it out.
I think
And
failure,
I love that.
right, failure is
I love
not
that.
in my vocabulary.
It's not in your vocabulary.
No,
and
not at all.
mediocre is not in your vocabulary.
no.
If you
Whether-
don't know how to do something, you'll at least find a different way to do it that's creative and submit it. And then you could talk to them. You know, you'll talk to them about it. You're open-minded. What else do you need? And then you could take it to the next level. But you'll get it done.
Absolutely. And you know, Lisa, I think that has a lot to do with believing in yourself. When I
Yeah.
built the building, that 13-story building
Yes.
in Los Angeles, I was working with a team of architects, and I didn't think that the skin on the building was appropriate for our location and what we wanted to do. So I single-handedly, with a whole team of architects, told them, we need to change it, and this is what we need to do. And it worked beautifully. When it came to designing that 16,000 square foot home in Northridge, the design was something that I'm very proud of. To this day, that house is a monument to great architecture.
Yes.
When I designed and rebuilt my home, you know, it just feels and flows
It's an amazing
like,
home.
like
Yes.
an amazing home. It really is. I think the energy that you've shared in your lifetime for so many people is the essence of what makes everything work for you. And I am inspired by the love that you share for so many people, and you end up recharging my battery often. And I think I've done the same for you over the years. We've exchanged so many thoughts when things seem to tilt just in a direction that wasn't going to be as good as we'd hoped for. We find a way to reset the ship, and the ship is sailing along
Yes, yes.
perfectly. And we've done that over and over again.
And I think the reason why we do that is because we love the journey and we're not so focused on the end destination. We're just thinking about, this feels good, let's go on it. So it's not, oh my God, I have to have this result at the end. We want a result, but we don't have to have it.
Right.
I was like, that didn't work. Okay, we're both already on the next train, or we have 3 or 4 trains going in the same
Right,
direction.
right.
So we just jump from one to the other. And then when this one starts taking off, oh, let's jump back on that one. And I think there's something beautiful about that, because then you're not stuck in a box. You're people like us who are creative. We have so many ways to express ourselves. So I would recommend to people to not be afraid of branching out or trying new things, not spreading yourself too thin, but trying new things, at least to see what you're really good at or what really sticks. Not just saying, I need to be a photographer, so that's all I'm going to go out for is photography, photography, photography. Maybe you want DP. Maybe you want to be an assistant to a great photographer and learn more. Maybe you want to, you know, be a production designer because you have a great eye.
Yes.
And then that'll take you to another place. And that's
It's
how
the
you
process.
could. It's the process.
We have said that, and I've shared that with you over 25 years. So much of what you have done, you started 25 years ago to get
Yes.
where you are today.
Yes.
And it's the process. And along the way, there weren't the immediate little bits of satisfaction that one would say, this is a tremendous victory, but you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You enjoyed the steps that led to today. The same way I enjoy every bit of the work that I do. It's funny because one of my partners is a little bit surprised when I hook somebody at the beginning. If I get interest from a company and he'll say, well, we don't have the deal yet. To me, it's the process. And I get so much joy out of those first conversations where I know that it's going to lead, chances are that it'll lead to something great. To me, that process is more exciting and more of a thrill than actually getting the deal
Yes.
done at the end.
Yes.
Because the deal at the end is just one moment. The process is my life, day after day, working toward what could be an eventual goal
Yes.
or success. But it's not just the success, it's the process.
Yes.
And I love that process.
I do too.
Yeah.
So with that, what do you want your legacy to be?
I think I create my legacy every day with the love I share with my friends. I think the word is love. I'd like to be remembered for sharing love on so many different levels. It's the joy I have with friendships. And my friends really know that I give them so much that I want to give them. I want them to know that they can come to me whenever they need any type of boost in life, to be there for them. And I know I live that. I live that way every day of my life with different people as they
Yes,
come in
yes,
at different
yes.
times. But I love them so much. And for my children, every day they know how much love I share and I give to them on so many different levels.
So what's
That's
a phrase?
the joy of my life.
So what's a phrase that you want people to say after you pass?
I mean, not so fast. I'm not going yet.
Okay, but what's a phrase? You're going to be around forever. You're going to be
Absolutely. Gee, that's so tough. You know, I think the words "I love you," I want that to resonate. I want them to hear
so
it.
that's your legacy,
And
because you didn't quite answer that perfectly.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
so
want them to know
love
that
is your legacy.
they feel love, that they feel that I added a degree of passion for their lives, that I elevated their lives in ways that other people didn't, and that they feel embraced and hugged by me, even from afar. You know, I have a friend living in the Golan Heights right now who will tell you that he's inspired by me because I share this love and this richness for him. And that exists with people all over the world.
You could teach a course on that at a major university, just how to love, how to accept
That's
and
sweet of you
receive
to
love,
say.
and how to give love.
That's sweet of you to say.
Yeah,
But
Professor
don't you find,
Fred Powers.
Right, but don't you find that so difficult to put into words when you say,
It's so difficult.
how do you give that?
It's a process of opening your heart and
Listening.
and being
Listening.
okay to be vulnerable. Yeah.
And
Being
listening.
opening, yes.
Listening and listening and listening.
What was that?
Listening, listening, listening. It's so important.
It is. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa.
This is wonderful. Thank you for taking the time to come
You're-
out here. You just represented what you want your legacy to be. I feel the love.
You're a joy and love in my life forever. I hope this goes on for another 50 years at least.
It will.
You've often told me,
Yes.
don't leave before me.
Yep.
I won't.
Okay.
Okay?
You got it.
I love you.
I love you too.